One of the best opening shots I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh. The opening scene was the most thrilling experience I've had in a while.
That motorcycle scene in the drone shot is my favorite part of the film.
When the drone first takes off, it's like kind of heart-throbbing. It's just super cool. Music hits right. The speed is just right. It's like, it feels like it just rips everything away. But it doesn't really flies that way, you know. I think that is a very special moment. I think especially considering not sure how we were going to do that.
We know that we have a movie that is essentially two people in a static location for the majority of the film, almost an hour and 45 minutes. That's a very, very big obstacle for a movie-going audience to get over because it breaks almost every convention that they're used to. And we wanted to start this movie with as signature or as big as a bang as we could so that you felt like, oh goodness, I'm in good hands, to really gain trust early.
And I think even in the beginning, I remember like having doubts about it being a oneer because it was mostly because of the beginning, where it was just like, our big thing was like, if someone gets taken out in the beginning, then that's like damning to the story. You know, like does the technique actually serve a purpose? Because at that point, we're doing something just to do it and not to like actually immerse someone.
Somewhere here, the audience is super surprised because it goes, we're like, whoa, we were flying the whole time. Or we weren't flying, but we switched somewhere. We wanted some of the thrill ride of this to actually be in camera, for the audience to feel like they're inside the magic trick more with us.
But doing that seamlessly, because we tried all these different techniques with, you know, a gimbal on a camera, out the sunroof of a car. We tried on the back of a truck. We tried different drones, Inspire with a better camera. I was wrong. This will not work. That's where I'm at. All of them were just terrible. Honestly, they just didn't work.
We wanted you to feel like you were flying and that this experience was sort of a rush.
It was going to have to be something more than just a camera car, whether that was stabilized or handheld.
Well, what happens if we take technology that's normally used in one application but make it simulate something else? And the results of that were fantastic.
So an FPV drone is usually not used in a movie. They're also very new technology, maybe in the last like 4 years. So what these are meant for is racing drones. And so what people used to do is they would just fly them around as fast as they could.
You're actually locked in like a video game almost, and you're seeing what the drone's seeing.
They wear goggles and they just race.
We did quite a few tests of it in Buffalo, which were super cool.
It's hard because the initial thought is always really cool. Because it's just cool. It's a fast moving drone. You're seeing perspectives you've never seen. The guy's flipping and twirling and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. And so, but once you get past that, you're like, well, does it work though? You know, you're seeing these weird maneuvers and they are very cool, but they're definitely saying a lot of different things.
The moment I saw that shot for the first time when we tested it, I fell in love with it, and I just said, I've seen this shot before, but never in a movie. So like, let's take the next step and make this more cinematic.
Use your capabilities, which is going fast, quickly, being small and agile, being smooth. Use those attributes, get rid of the rest. You know, you fly through those trees, you go up through the power lines, you kind of feel the turns, just like how the motorcycle would.
Angles that we just would have never been able to get with a standard drone that kind of locks on and is very robotic in its movements.
That really gave it more story and feeling to be like, yeah, this is a gorgeous place. And I like to think that when you watch it, you don't think of what the camera's doing, you're more of just in awe of what's happening. You go past the horses and the galloping, and it's just, you're just taking it in rather than thinking about how they did it.
What was your first reaction to when you learned that the team was going to fly a drone over a mile?
All the film was shot at this point except for the nursing home scene and the drone. And so the rest of the movie is kind of like in the rear view window. A dirty driveway is a bad
Do it every morning.
I know, even on a day where you got a big film happening, you
Yeah.
play in the driveway.
Part of the routine.
It's all about routine, yep. That's the success.
Yeah, so I enter the shot, and then I go on the bike, and it's all me on the bike the whole time. And there's actually it's all me. I was able to do it. Okay, so yeah, I don't know how to ride a motorcycle. I still don't think I do, but
The drone goes from about 0 to 60, in about 2 seconds. And the motorcycle's got to go from about 0 to like 100.
I don't know what his problem was. He was so worried about that.
all right. So Travis, are we going to just turn that into a bicycle?
So there, on that day, Travis is wearing the same exact clothes as Jordan.
Double vision.
So we start in the morning, and then it's a shot of me.
Me and my dad are following to try to help the dog. Right behind Aaron, who's like palming a drone like it's a little bird in his hand.
And then right before I get on to the bike, I'm talking to my dad.
Okay, we're gonna look at the dad for a little bit, and meanwhile Travis is
I
like,
immediately grab the helmet from Mike and start to strap it on.
he hops on the bike, and then I kind of go back to Travis, and now it's Travis, and he's just like, yep, I'm just me,
And everything has to be super calm, but it's quite the opposite on the other side of the camera. Just off frame, a camera car with Mark Braun in it, ready to go high speed.
which was probably my favorite thing of the entire project.
The camera, the little FPV is just floating in his hand.
He pulls away, and then he freaking vrooms it going 70 miles per hour.
He kind of like lets it go. And
the release has to be right, then have to take off. So Travis takes off, drone takes off. If you even get those two things right, you're like, okay, cool. Now the car has to take off to catch up with him.
Because we have to be within close range to actually operate the drone.
Yeah, like Braun.
It's just madness. And so finally they're going, the drone's going across the field. Now you're like, okay, hopefully the pilot does a good job.
But the FPV pilot has goggles on, so their eyes are up in the sky.
Which is extremely jarring for someone who's wearing goggles in a moving car, going like 80 miles an hour, and then trying to fly this thing.
And it was just intense. There was a couple of hard turns. When turns are coming, it's left turn coming in 3, 2, 1, here we go, nice and smooth, slow it down, and then pick it up right back up again. We got another guy in the back that's talking to the other people that are holding out the streets.
Approaching takeoff from Travis's dad.
Big Cole's on the phone telling Travis to go faster, 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 brake, 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 it's just chaos.
There was so much happening. There were so many elements, and there were so many players that had to be in place in order for that to be successful. And there are also so many elements that were completely out of our control.
Is the horse gonna be in the right position? Will there be a flare, But most of the times it was just overcast dullness.
We did a few runs in the morning, but we knew that we really wanted to ideally shoot this in the evening, in the afternoon light, because we could see a much more dynamic sky.
So yeah, and then there's another hidden cut. The drone goes into trees right before Heritage.
And in order for it to work, we had Aaron standing, but he had to stand hidden.
This is a super wide field of view. So I'm just tucked behind a car. I'm waiting for someone to basically tell me to go because I'm out of the shot.
And he came running out.
And now the drone's kind of descending down.
And he had to catch the drone perfectly and gently, almost like a ballerina, just have it just drop in his hand.
So it's just this beautiful dance, and we would drill these things.
Launching and receiving the drone. We practiced that probably 50 times. And I just have to count them down and be like, okay. And I wouldn't always be good. Sometimes I'd have to grab it sooner. I'd be like, 1, 2, go. There's times where I was like, 3, 2, 1, no. So it wasn't very consistent either because it just wasn't.
And he did it.
I grabbed it right, and then from there it's like, okay, now we have to do a scene, so now we're starting the arc, and I'm seeing people pull up, and I'm like, okay, hopefully they remember their lines.
It's me back on the bike, and then I park the bike, and then we take that whole scene into Heritage Village.
We're just always trying to not use the same combination twice of motorcycle driver, of cameras, doing hidden cuts to continue this flow and keep you sort of guessing, you're kind of off balance of like, is Mike always the driver? Because he's definitely driving now, he didn't switch.
And then I felt decently confident about that one. Travis worked with me, I think it was a couple weeks prior and then a couple days prior.
And then when we're looking at a time lapse, we can start to upgrade the camera.
Jordan went from Heritage Village over to Wendy's house.
If you watch it, you're just like, yeah, you went from one place to another, but it was so much more difficult than that for so many reasons. You have Mike, who's riding a motorcycle, which he's never really rode before.
I know how to ride enough for it to look like I'm riding 0.7 miles.
What you're not seeing is that right behind that camera is me, the director, holding a big monitor.
Like literally a TV screen. You have Luke pulling focus while looking at this screen.
The boom operator are all shifting behind.
We all kind of shuffle out the door, but we get to the parking lot, and at that moment,
Megan's car is pulled up and is now getting loaded up with Luke, and then I set the monitor in Luke's lap.
yeah, and I forget that. So all this happens, I hand off the camera to Cole, which is sticking out of a sunroof of a car. So he's up there, he grabs the camera, all while like, this is one take, so he's just like, I got my cool.
And hopefully, again, that handoff happens at a time that you're not really aware of it because we're just sort of static.
Mike has to, get used to letting go of the clutch in the motorcycle for the first time. I hand it off. I then run to someone who just pulled up my car.
He's replaced one of the actors in their commuter vehicle, and he's going to take a different route to get to Wendy's house, and he's going to go as fast as he can so that as our camera car is moving, he has a head start so that he can be there to receive the camera.
I'd kind of run out of my car, grab the camera, and just walk across the street, that was a big thing because cars had to be stopped.
So we're trying to time getting out of this parking lot onto a main drag, making a turn, and there's tractor trailers helping block roads, and we had other people from the crew blocking roads, and it didn't help. And so we just had to dive, go, and try to all get out.
And I'm glad I just had a helmet on because you couldn't see my actual face because I wasn't acting on that. Yeah, I'm just like in the helmet, just like, oh my God.
He's better than he might feel he is inside. He's definitely capable of it. We wouldn't have let him do it if he wasn't.
Oh my God. just get me there, please.
It's intentional that he gently looks to the right at one point in order to show his face again on the bike while he's driving it. That's a little Mike winking to the camera, like, I'm absolutely doing this, give me credit.
I mean, it was such a mix of emotions, and he would get all the way up to the driveway, and then Mike still has to be him. He's okay, going to see my mom.
I think inside he's probably almost shaking with his nerves.
Whew, I did it, I drove a motorcycle, and then we're like, okay, now be an actor again,
And after the first time, I'm like, okay, I made it, I'm good. Are we good? And then it's like, oh wait, it's not just about me. There's this whole complicated camera handoff and traffic and all this played a role into it. And I'm here just thinking, I need to get there safely. So once after the 7 takes, we finally found the shot. I was like, oh my God, this is it.
We did a bunch of takes, but we got it eventually.
Unreal.
That's a lot.
Unreal. I know, I love it.
And I thought that was going to be the most challenging part. It didn't end up even being the hardest part.
All right, I think we got to restart. We do. That's not useful. All right, let's reset.
We knew that in the bag we had a successful run with an overcast sky. It was sort of like a solid B shot.
Wasn't looking very good, so we're like, it's kind of always the thought of do we have it? Is it there?
It was hard to feel like that was gonna be it because you knew from our test that if the sun comes out, that this is a A+ potential dynamic lighting shot and would be really special.
It was kind of an emotional day with the nursing home because there was a lot of problem solving that had to be done.
You decide you can wait. So yeah. All right. No.
And so that was very, taking a lot of gas out of the tank.
As we shot that tape, we had our eye on this giant cloud system that was coming up from Pennsylvania and Ohio.
And we looked up and the sun peeked out. No joke, the sun's peeking out, but in Gary, the sky is beautiful there. You can see it really far. but there's these gray clouds just covering it. And you can just see them moving. You know, you can just physically see them moving, and we're like, we gotta go.
There was no coming back.
That was our last take of the day.
The company shifted.
There's a ton of stuff going on in order to make that a smooth shot and transition.
There's almost 30 people involved in that.
We're just like, let's go, go. Everyone's running everywhere.
So we're all switching costumes. We're trying to get Jordan's hair wet. We're trying to get the dog.
Camera's rolling. Okay, Dad, just come down here. 10, 9.
We were rushing. Someone didn't have microphones and had to run them out.
And it's not just a matter of like what's going on in base camp to get this little like driveway scene.
8, 7. Mike,
we need to clear a mile of traffic. We need to get a horse rider saddled up and outside. We need to get, there's different family members and people walking.
7. Mike, back up a little. 6, 5, 4.
So many, I forget until I talk about it. I'm like, there was so much stuff. I'm like, it really was crazy.
Again, to have all of this stimulation around, like, this is a oneer, this is a shot, we gotta get it.
You're just watching that orange sun creep.
There is only a small sliver.
You even see it in the movie, and just, it feels like Home Alone when they're about to leave on vacation and everyone's just running around and crossing paths.
5, 4, 3, 2.
I think before we rolled, we were just like, I think we have everything. I don't even know if someone was monitoring audio. It was just like, let's just try it.
Blocker cars, just please confirm you're in position.
All set. They were able to turn that in like 10 to 15 minutes.
This is Meg, I'm in position.
This is it. We only had one go at it.
Maria's in position.
And we're all just like, okay.
2, 1.
Just keeping everything in place so we can actually get this shot.
Dad?
And so we set up.
Approaching takeoff from Travis's dad's.
Clear.
3.
Copy that. Copy.
2.
Let go of the drone. It's
leaving.
1.
And it went.
Takes off. I see the Cadillac Escalade go ripping down the street. You kind of just hear it fade off into Gary countryside.
Everybody is just cheering and cheering, like, okay, okay, okay.
Approaching the corner.
And they passed, my mark, and they passed Meg's mark and Maria's mark.
Coming your way, past me.
I think 4 or 5 minutes goes by.
And we got it.
And we did, and that's the take we used. And that's the take that we actually had some sun on. The camera movements were perfect. The horse was in the right spot. The speed was great.
Everyone hit their mark better than they had in any other practice, and that's the beauty of a great team.
It was, it was filmmaking.
Literally probably 30 moving parts, everyone in their different position did their best work on that shot, which shows in the film.
We got it. We got the shot, and I'll never forget that moment because it was all through our intercom.
That's a
Everyone's
wrap.
like,
I want to go back to the house.
I remember hearing, that's a wrap, and wow.
Like, this is the best ever.
It's such a celebration, not only for the weight of the movie to be now behind us instead of on top of us, too. We also ended in the exact way we would have wanted to, which was nailing a shot with the perfect light.
Someone came driving up and they were like, they got it. It was great. She's like super happy and she's like, it was perfect. They got it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was so happy. And there's a tree in Jay's front yard, actually the tree that Jordan walks under. And I just like laid down and I was like, I just like laid down on my back. I looked up. It was like a beautiful sky. I took a picture with my phone.
That was when I was most actively loving making the film. The camaraderie and the accomplishment and the friendship and even like the technical aspect that we had achieved there.
Yes, we did it. We did it. We finished our first feature film and we got the shot that we needed.
And it's extremely complicated and fun and quite the adventure for the team involved in that, and it's great.
But that was a moment where, like, for whatever reason, my mind was willing to digest, like, this is a moment you'll remember. And I do remember that moment because I felt like, I was like, we did it, everyone did it. I could hear people like cheering on the porch over on the other side. And it was really emotional to kind of think that we accomplished something, we made a movie.
Hello again. I'm Travis, the writer and director of Mother's Day. This movie was made by a group of volunteers. This was not a Hollywood budget, and we do not have a Hollywood marketing budget. You are literally the only way that people are going to discover this. So if you like what you saw, or you want to pass this along to anybody, please feel free to share it, spread the word. And if you feel so inclined to give a donation to the team that did this by themselves for over 2 years, you can go over to panamericanfilms.com. Usually only about 1% of the people who see messages like this will actually go and donate. But we would really appreciate you specifically. If you would be the one who takes action, we would really help to compensate the crew and the cast who worked over 2 years of their life to bring this to life for you for free. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and from Pan American Films, and from the hundreds of thousands of families that deal with this every day. Thank you.